that bass. Get that bass. I'm a bass master cause I get that bass. When I wanna get some, I can get some fast. Go to the hole with my 4-stroke Johnson. You know I got holes all across Wisconsin. Don't matter if it's black or white. I get that bass every day and night. I rig up and toss it and give it a flip.
Welcome back to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We were going to start off the music with a segment of, Dream the Impossible Dream. But we decided to give you a little music from that group called Shad Rap instead. Why were we going to give you the former song? Well, I'll tell you why. Because we're talking to Sean O'Connell. He's a guy who owns a water well drilling company in north central Washington. And now he owns the biggest bass boat dealership in the greater Northwest. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, John.
So, Sean, I've got to ask, how did this come about? I mean, you currently own a water well drilling business in Brewster, Washington, and now you're the owner of Nixon's Marine with locations in Lakewood and their headquarters in Walla Walla, Washington. And on top of that, you also just bought the Northwest Bass Fishing Circuit, too. Talk about a major lifestyle change. Are you going through a midlife crisis or what?
Well, I hope it's not my midlife crisis yet. but it does sound, pretty odd. But I've been a bass tournament angler in Washington for over 10 years. And over that time, I've become real close with the owners of Nixon's Marine, Jeff and Kathy Priester. And essentially, when they decided they wanted to start their transition plan, they approached me. And I was excited to take on that opportunity.
Well, God bless the Priesters. They're great people, and I think it's great that Jeff's going to finally get to retire and spend some time on the water instead of working 7 days a week. But again, operating a water well drilling business to operating a boat dealership seems like apples and oranges. I'm sure there's some commonalities operating a small business versus operating a small business, but do you have any previous experience in boat sales? Or, how confident are you about this move? Not to scare you or anything.
I am confident. It's really an honor to be able to carry on the legacy of Nixon's Marine. They've been serving the anglers of the Pacific Northwest since 1959. And over this last 10 years in tournament angling, I've been a pro staffer for Nixon's Marine and have assisted in boat sales over that period of time and have a pretty good grasp on their business model.
All right. So next question for you, Sean. Nixon's Marine. Again, in my opinion, it's probably the Northwest most popular bass fishing boat dealership. Most folks, when they are looking for a bass boat and they live anywhere in our listening area, Nixon's Marine is a place they're going to check, and there's a good chance they're going to buy it there. But I understand the location of the business is going to change. You currently have the headquarters in Walla Walla, and there's I guess you could call it a satellite dealership or facility in Lakewood, but you're going to consolidate and move somewhere else, aren't you?
We are. So the Lakewood store, which is a full-service store, we have full-service department and whatnot there, is going to stay and maintain operations as normal. But over the next year in 2018, we will be moving the Walla Walla location to a new location in Tri-Cities. And we just feel it's a better, more centrally located location to better serve our customers. And it's also going to be a larger location with larger room for more inventory. So you'll see some expansions in our lines there.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Have you settled on a location in the Tri-Cities yet?
I have. I've purchased some land there, and I'll announce where it is once we have building permits in hand.
That sounds very exciting. So for folks who are not aware of what you carry at Nixon's Marine, why don't you tell them what brands you do carry for bass anglers, and for that matter, other anglers too?
You bet. So our main lines that we carry are Ranger, Triton, Skeeter, Crestliner, and Legend. And, we carry the fiberglass and aluminum bass boats for those brands. And then we carry the Deep V, walleye, and recreational fishing boats in Ranger and Skeeter. And then Crestliner, we have the full gamut of recreational fishing to the hardcore tournament walleye guy.
Let me ask you a question here. Fiberglass versus aluminum. When it comes to a bass boat, what do you recommend and why, generally speaking?
So in the waters in the Pacific Northwest, when you're into the bigger open water that we often fish, the heavier 20 and 21 foot fiberglass are the go-to boat for the tournament angler. That is not the standard across the nation, but in the Pacific Northwest it is.
And is that because they just handle the waves and the chop a lot better than those aluminum boats?
That's correct. Exactly. They're a safer ride and a lot more stable ride in that big water.
All right. And here's another question for you. For a person who's looking to buy a bass boat, I mean, you could buy them anywhere from 16 to 21 plus feet. What's your kind of general recommendation for a person who says, I want to buy a bass boat and start maybe getting into some of the local bass fishing club contests? What would you tell them?
So if we're talking club level, anywhere from a 18 to 19 foot aluminum, Ranger has a couple of offerings they're fully rigged bass boats that range from the $30,000 to $45,000 range, and they're an excellent package. And as you progress up into the 20 and 21 foot fiberglass in any of the lines we carry, we have some great offerings. Okay,
and again, you can tell that maybe I've thought about buying a bass boat here with some of my questions, but what's the most popular entry level brand? I mean, it used to be. And maybe I'm going to answer my own question here. It used to be Ranger. When you looked at Ranger boats, they were always ultra expensive. At least it seemed that way to me. But correct me if I'm wrong, some of their models have really come down to a more affordable price.
They have, and really it's across all the brands. They have a wide range of price points and boats to get into. As I mentioned before, the Ranger aluminums, the 188, the 198, they're a great boat. They're a great entry level boat. We drove the new 198 last week down on Bull Shoals at the Ranger plant, and it's a 60-mile-an-hour aluminum boat. It's an impressive boat. But I think right now those are what I would push people towards as an entry level.
Sounds like a great boat to me. Last question, I promise you here, at least for now, and we'll get into that in a second, is the sportsman shows. They are coming up quick. Is Nixon's Marine going to be at some of the sportsman shows, and are you going to be offering some of the great show specials like you have in the past?
We absolutely will. You'll see us in Portland and Puyallup, and then we will have a boat also at the Seattle Boat Show, and we will have boat show specials, and would love to see you there.
Okay, our very, very last question for now. The website for Nixon's Marine.
NixonsMarine.com.
All right, folks, NixonsMarine.com is the website. That's where you want to go to find out more about all the bass boats they have to offer. And again, check them out during this show season at the shows that Sean just mentioned. Sean, I know I've told you 3 times now, last question, but I've got one more question. Will you stick around for a few minutes so we can talk about the Northwest Bass Tournament circuit that you also purchased and some of the other bass tournaments that Nixon's Marine is helping to put on in 2018?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
Well, there you go, folks. Stick around. Sean will be right back to tell you about tournament fishing here in the Northwest on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
That bass every day and night. I rig up and toss it and give it a flick. That bass is gonna feel my ugly stick.
Do you like this bass?
Oh yeah, that's a nice looking bass.